done stepped in the game? At point blank range, who done stepped in the game? At point blank range, who done stepped in the game? Stepped in the game, stepped in the game.
This one in particular is going to be about some hardware that may, and the issues that I'm going to address should rectify an issue with a lot of Wii U gamers out there. And while it's particular to Wii U, it should actually help a lot of PS4 and Xbox One gamers out there also with a common issue that should be an issue that can be easily addressed with every gamer as long as you have the proper knowledge. Now, one of the issues that I've come across is a matter of discussion and assumption across multiple forums, be it technical variety, the AV variety, or whatnot. And one of those misconceptions is that Wii U has a low power rating and can't use that many external drives or external devices to add to its rated capacity, or what Nintendo is going to support, 4 terabytes. It can support more than that, but that's another video. With the USB 2 spec, apparently that's holding back the platform because USB 2, it can only use a certain amount of amperage. The Wii U can't use those drives, which is kind of weird, and you can't really match the amperage and mix it up with the power and the voltage in the same statement. First of all the USB specifications fall under the same amount of voltage, and it actually gets lower and lower the more advanced you get. So USB 3 and USB 3.1 drives, especially the new SSD types, if they're external or internal in an enclosure, they use anywhere between a low end of 3 to 1 watt during normal operations. So as far as needing more power for a more advanced version of USB is really neither here nor there. Now, with regards to the amperage, which would be the current of the USB specification, yes, it is higher on USB 3, up to about 900 milliamps with regards to supporting the total amperage that it will allow to connect for a drive to spin up and things of that nature, or any other device to be able to be used while being connected via USB. That in no way means that that's the standard, because there are also drives on USB 3 and 3.1 that are rated as low as 230, 220 milliamps. So it is really a broad spectrum of devices going anywhere between 100 to 500 milliamps or 100 to 900 milliamps of current being used across a wide variety of devices. And just because something is USB 3 or USB 2 compliant does not mean that it's going to have the guaranteed maximum amount of amperage or the guaranteed maximum amount of voltage per port. That has never been the case, and it never will be. For anybody that wants to look at a number and see what is compliant with regards to USB and things of that nature, do yourself a favor and please look at everything and how it's rated and what it is for that particular device that you're using before you go forward. So what I want to talk about with regards to those different specifics is, if you're going to use an external hard drive with the Wii U, which majority of this video is going to be about anyway, you need to know exactly what you're using. So I have 2 drives that I want to use as an example here. One is a drive that I pulled from an old MacBook that I had. This one is about 200 gigs, if you will, and it is rated at about 600 milliamps. So it's very tiny right there at the top, about 600 milliamps. That lets you know exactly how much current the device needs to operate properly. And the same holds true for another device I have here, and it's a little bit closer to what the USB 2 amperage maximum should be. And this is a 1 terabyte from Western Digital, and if you look at it, it is like right around 550 milliamps that you would need to connect this drive. Now, there exist some drives out there. They're usually small in size, like anywhere between 64 to 160 gigs, and these are usually the thin variety of hard drives. So these are the thin profile drives, a very thin drive that doesn't require that much amperage to spin up. And some of these can be anywhere between 100 to 220 milliamps. And those can be used with one single USB cable connect it to that drive on an external bay, and they would spin up. In theory and in practice, it's possible. More than likely, you're going to run into drives like this. Whether you buy a new external USB enclosure, which I would recommend, or a new external drive from Western Digital, Seagate, Tech Buffalo, what have you, I would not recommend those because they're pretty much a waste of money. But I'll talk about that at another time. You're going to end up needing a lot more power than you would in the other example that I gave you, in which you're extremely lucky and you could just plug that right up to the Wii U and have no issues whatsoever. But if you're in a situation where, say, hey, you've got a man cave like I do, and you do want to play Smash Brothers and stuff like that, but you also have probably kind of run a little dry on space on your flash memory, and like I do, I want to be able to use that flash memory when Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out, because apparently that's going to be used as temporary space, and I don't want any of that to be missing when I play that game. So what I want to do is free up a lot of the space on the flash memory on my 32 gig Wii U launch, and then have the majority of my downloadable eShop games be on external hard drives. So I have one 2 terabyte and 1 terabyte drive that I have connected to my Wii U right now. I also use my front ports of my Wii U to charge 2 of these controllers here, and I use my GameCube controller adapter to play Smash Brothers. So this requires 2 ports no matter what you do, because that's the official USB connector that came with this, one for power, one for data. These require 1 cable, but around about, let's see here, it wants about 0.5 amps to go through here at 5 volts. So you need a good 0.5 amps there. So it's gonna need whatever it needs from the front, and it's gonna be kind of hot. So I want to be able to do that at the same time, and while I'm doing that, I want to be able to charge 1 or 2 controllers at the same time, while using external hard drives, while using the GameCube controller adapter. And the way to do that is to have this little guy right here, which is a Trip Lite USB hub that I got several years ago. And it's a neat little doodad here. There's a little blue LED right here that lights up whenever you connect it and whatnot. And it has this wonderful thing right here, which is a power adapter. So basically, you plug this up, you connect it to the USB dongle here that can also go to a USB extension cable that looks just like it, that comes with it. You take this, you plug it up to the wall. It lights up as a powered USB source. You plug this to 1 port on the back of your Wii U, and you now have 4 additional USB 2.0 fully powered USB ports. So all the issues that you would have with an external hard drive, if you will, or what have you, you can connect this guy with a Y cable or with a regular USB cable. You can connect the other 1 terabyte drive to another bay, and then you still have an additional 2 ports to use for your GameCube controller adapter, so you're able to have everything connected and be ready to go, and there's no shortage of USB ports. Now, granted, this is just an example. There are anywhere between 4 to 10 port USB hubs that are just as small as this that you can use right about now, and they work just as well. They probably have bulkier AC adapters than this guy does, though. This one is, the AC adapter for it isn't really that big, and I've seen some that have really big power bricks that connected to them. So be aware of that when you make your choices of looking for smaller USB hubs. But that actually is the answer to the issue with regards to Wii U, because Nintendo's official stance is there should be a power supply for each device that's connected to it, so that there's guaranteed power. Well, there's guaranteed power in a USB hub, and the Wii U is dumb. It's just going to look down the HID chain of USB devices, and it's going to see that it's a USB device, whether there's a bridge between its USB ports or not. So once you have this all connected, you can manage and move data between the flash storage on the Wii U and 1 hard drive or 2 hard drives, and back and forth in any configuration whatsoever within the settings menu. And while Nintendo's official stance on their on their official site says you can only use one hard drive at a time with Wii U. That's only with a game or when you're downloading from the eShop. The first USB chain that it sees as device 1. And then it uses that as the primary storage device other than the flash memory to store games on. And it'll automatically do that too. So once you've connected that USB device and it notices that there's a lot more space on that device than your flash storage, it'll go ahead and start optimizing that as the primary download target. So when you go to eShop and things like that, it'll download there. Now you can choose to download it somewhere else right there in the eShop, or you can change it in the Wii U settings menu as what your proprietary, which device is going to be primary, whether it's going to be your 1 terabyte drive or your 2 terabyte drive or whatever configuration that you have. You can manage which devices go there. You can also hot swap and move save files and games and downloadable games from drive to drive as well. You have the options to move things around at will with no issues whatsoever. Obviously, I'll give the disclaimer here, you must format these drives with the Wii U for them to work properly. And it takes a minute for it to spin them up, wipe the drive completely, and then use it for the Wii U's purposes. That had to be said because I'm pretty sure somebody out there would just try to stick their good old Windows hard drive in there, wonder why nothing's working, or it's asking for you to initialize the drive before you can do anything. So with that being said, that's a good way to get rid of the issue with having not that many USB ports, having only 4, and them not being able to power anything. They do power quite a bit. I mean, it does trickle power kind of slowly. Like I've used it to charge my iPhone, and obviously if you use an iPad or something like that requires way more amperage, like up to 1.1 as far as amperage and stuff like that, it takes a lot longer to charge stuff. But when it comes to these little guys right here, charge them pretty quick. I want to say maybe about an hour while I was playing. So you know, you can do whatever you want. I also have external USB chargers for those guys dedicated anyway, so I don't have that issue running into a game. I should just be able to do it while I'm playing. You can also use this same setup for your Xbox One or your PS4 as far as natively tricking the USB chain into seeing this. Now this is as of now, and you know, a firmware update can change all of this, or even on the Wii U. So this is just something you can use for now, and I think that I don't think it will be changed in the future unless they just want to be complete you know what's about it. But this is a good way to add a lot more USB ports to your device without having to sacrifice adding power supplies to everything that you try to connect and things of that nature. So that was a ShadowCast. I hope it's been informative to you. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below, and I'll deal with you directly there. Or I can make another video about it, or we can have an open forum about it, or it could be a topic of the next ShadowCast. Who knows? And we'll talk about it from there on. And I look to help anybody there, and I want anybody to help me the same way that I'm trying to help people. So yeah, have a good one. ShadowCast. Do you play games to have fun or to impress other people?
Back to Square Enix 1 on this beats, done by DJ Locust. That keeps me in focus. It once seemed hopeless, but who you listening to now? Punk ass, flossing ass. Listen, you can talk about your cars, rap about your rims, rap about your ends, rap about your friends, rap about your girl, rap about your jewels, rap about your tool, your cat, your yacht, your Roscoe, your watch, just because it costs so much to the average consumer. Not everybody in the motherfucking world know about it. Launch your own personal cry for attention. Every phrase mentions not a goddamn thing. March to the beat of a different snap, and I just who done stepped in the game at point blank range? Who done stepped in the game at point blank range? Who done stepped in the game? Stepped in the game.